Oh, thank goodness for that. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Wednesday. Um, Happy Hump Day. Yeah, sorry it's a bit late. I've been trying to get the streaming software to actually work, so it's taking its sweet ass time, but we are here. And yeah, I've got nothing really. I've got unfinished projects. It's basically what I've got. So we've got the Wells Surveyor thing. We've also got the Gotham transport. There's still some of my Trench Crusade stuff that needs some attention to as well. I want to add a bit more colour to the Observer in particular. But apart from that, it's just going to try and be chill, and you know, that's it really. So I should do some of the social stuff as always. So share, copy link, thank you, and then share. Mm. So, yeah, hello, Anti Gizmo. Won't be about too much as I'm in the office. No, that's all right. Welcome for dropping in and saying hi. Um, I'm just getting myself organised. You see, we've got this big spidery thing here. There's a boaty thing here. There's my little aircraft thingies here. Um, it's just a let's just get stuff done that's not been finished kind of evening, if you know what I mean. Um, that's the kind of deal we've got here. Uh, that should be stuff done. All right, let's. Well, I think that's about it. No, that's fine. Alright. Let's get cooking, he says. We've no idea what he's actually doing. Now, I was trying to tidy up before coming on stream because everything had crept across the front. So literally where this is standing, I've got about 4 inches to the edge of the desk. This was all covered with with paint pots, where I was like, oh, a bit of this, bit of that, bit of this, bit of that, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and yeah, it sort of covered the entire area. Doesn't help that I've got a third of the surface is covered with my Trench Crusade stuff, which I really should think about maybe finding a home for. But I kind of like them there, which is weird. Maybe I should get shelves in. Get some shelves up. Is the music level okay, or is it a bit loud, a bit quiet? I haven't changed the settings from last week or last Saturday, but thought I'd better ask. Let's so this is ridiculously subtle. Can't really see. It's so so subtle a shift in colour. It is bonkers, to be honest with you. that's the thing. Sometimes with the way I paint, I do go that a little bit too subtle. So obviously on camera, you're not really getting it, but there is a slight, I say slight, shift in the tone. Because over, oh, poop. Oh, that's alright, stride. Got worried there for a second. We'll probably have to go through that again in a moment with some more of the same. So let's get some of that dried, caked on. What is it? Canoptic alloy is what we're adding. So it was Leadbelcher all over initially. Then with an airbrushed, I sprayed over it with Agrax, and then I've dry brushed it with I think maybe Leadbelcher. May have been something else. I think no, it might actually. Oh, I don't know. It could have been Ring Fang actually. But just then, when it focused. There's definitely more shine to the parts with the Canoptic on. So that's the subtle nature of the colour that I'm using is so subtle, but you can only tell because of the flatter surfaces are a lot more reflective. So because I do subtlety with my stuff, it doesn't help me when showing it off on screen. So I apologise for that. It looks okay here. Looks all right. But there is a definite difference between the base metals and the the Canoptic parts. I'm going to give it a quick blast with the hairdryer anyway, just a precaution. It's more it's weird because it's still like an earthy metal. Yeah, it has a sort of silveriness to it, which is quite nice. But that's better. So using the flat brush, it's kind of giving it a brushed metal look, which I actually don't really mind on this, because it's sort of like that steampunk sort of feel to this game. Steampunk, diesel punk. I'm not going all the way to the bottom though. I'm only doing the top section, so the bottom is actually darker. So it stand out a little bit better there as well, actually. It looks quite good. I sort of accidentally stumbled on something, so yeah, there you go. do the same. Kind of feel like it's like the Emperor's New Clothes, really. It's like it's there is paint on this. There is paint going on here. Trust me. Um, this is the second layer. But I'm not going all the way to the bottom, although I'm technically on the bottom. So I'm deliberately leaving off on some of the edges. That's and then that's Where did I put? So. Whew, that was lucky. I'll put the sugar. This is Basilicanum grey, which I'm going to put onto these cables here. Subtle is the key word here. Right. this open if I can. This is a white ink. So that first white we put in is base layer, correct white, just so it had a good base to work from. Mm-hmm. Hello, Alicord. And how are you? What are you up to? You look sharp. Did you get hit? A bit of both. Beard trim and done my undercut yesterday. So it's just in time for when it's suddenly changed to a bit colder weather as well. So it's like perfect timing on my part. So, but thank you very much. Yes, it's, needed a bit of a tidy up. I was feeling particularly bushy, and I thought, no, I need to get that sorted out. So I did. One of the perks of being a trained hairdresser slash barber is that you save on barber fees. So, yeah, this is from Armored Clash. I got sent out from War Cradle Studios. This, it was actually February. I got sent that. So this is the feature model. It's part of their, like Epic. So War Cradle have done their own version of Epic in the Dystopian Wars setting. So it's very steampunk, diesel punk sort of thing. The only way I can describe it is like, imagine 19th century technology, or the 19th century world as such. So like Queen Victoria and the well, before the American Civil War sort of thing. But imagine if, in Marvel where you've got Wakanda and they found that special metal, vibranium, and it powers all their stuff. Imagine if that was a global thing, but they discovered it back then and realised how they could work it and make floaty battleships and walkers of such monstrosityness. So this, by comparison, so that's a 28mm model, but this is for like an 8mm scale game. So yeah, so this is like their big main sort of battle behemoth that this particular faction fields, which is the Enlightened. I think it's called a Wells, as in somebody's surname, Wells, surveyor. So it's just a big, monstrous. It's like wicked Wild Wild West, if you know what I mean. That's what it reminds me of, because that's the thing that they do take from sort of pop culture and stuff, and this is like quite obviously that thing that Kenneth Branagh was in. But it's kind of cool. I feel a bit shaggy too. I need to get a trim. Well, that's the thing. You don't imagine that seeing me, that once upon a time I used to cut hair for a living. I was very young and I needed the money. That's what I keep telling myself. But it's a trade. I learn, and I cut my son's hair, my daughter when she needs a trim, sort of thing. I don't really do anything much more than that. I did used to do like my dad's on occasions, and for some friends if they needed it or wanted it. But I haven't really done, apart from me and my kids, I haven't really cut anyone. My partner's lad done his hair recently because he's at university, and like students, they have no money, so he needed it cut, so I cut it. I'll order one. I always like your descriptions. You mentioned them being a while back on your stream, and I checked them out. Now follow through and order some. That's the thing. They've got. That's the thing I like about Dystopian Wars, because obviously being in with Warhammer for so long, it's nice to actually have something that is a bit different. That's, you've got a game which was originally like naval combat, because they bought the rights to it, because the original company that used to make Dystopian Wars went under, so they bought the rights, and they started redoing it basically. The models are bigger, more detailed, plastic kits as well, so with lots of options and variety. So I'm not just saying that because, like, they send me free stuff. I don't get any commission or anything, but it's something that I actually really enjoy since getting into painting sort of Dystopian Wars stuff. And I've probably played more Dystopian Wars games than any other like 40k or Warhammer type game in general over the last 2 years. So I've enjoyed it. I've been to a couple of sort of like campaign like tournament days that were run at Wayland Games, which is like the game store side of War Cradle, because they were a game store first, and then they've made their own game studio, and are producing, as I say, Dystopian Wars, Wild West Exodus, which is actually quite a funky little, and that's set in the dystopian age as well. So they've got 3 game systems now, all tied in within the same sort of universe. But yeah, it's like the games are fun. They're different, and it's like naval combat is something you don't see a lot of. Not since like Dreadfleet or Man of War years ago. But it's fun. It's enjoyable. I come right, as you say, Wild Wild West, and all I want to ask about the buckwheat now. Hello, mate. That's good timing. Good timing. You still working on your Sisters of Battle thingy, dudette? It's a good trade. Yeah. So that's greenage. Finished my hospital yesterday. Posted it on B Sky today. I really should go back onto B Sky. I keep on forgetting. Now I have nowhere to hide from this bust I was painting for Fen. Well, get that painted. Not going to paint itself now, is it? If it did, it would sort of defeat the point of actually having a model in the first place. I'll touch up some bits that I'd accidentally So what are you up to, Alucard? Are you still over this, like, Europe way, or are you headed back now? I can't remember. When you was on here the other week, I knew you was, like, still travelling around the place. It's on Instagram too, but no one sees my shit. So no. I did. I'm sure I was the first person to like that, or something of yours. Yeah, I like that motherfucker. And the bass. I didn't like your Gundam, but I will now. Yeah, that would tell you. Liking your stuff. How dare you? Come on here, throwing accusations. Yeah. Take that. In mainland Europe. Well, enjoy your time in mainland Europe. Right now, I'm having a silly problem finding where you buy a War Cradle. Right. That's probably Dystopian Wars. 2 secs. Well, the actual game that's from, sorry, is Armored Clash, is the game. Armored. Oh, you stupid bone. Hold on. Well, the battle group set, which is the cheap, it's like it's just basically that with some support units, because that battle group is the big sort of like big army with lots of stuff on it. So not only one of them, but you've got some buildings. So you got oh, oh, rule books and bits and pieces. So it's like the complete kind of army thing. Obviously, you can get other stuff because I said that's coming out. They've got the Wells box set, which is like half the price of that. So that's £50. So it's going to be about $60 or $65, I think. But the currently Wayland Games are out of stock, and they're the ones that are the main suppliers of it. So it might just be they've done the first run for the like pre-orders and stuff. Plus, they're at the moment they are in a bit of a move, so they are changing facilities. So where they were originally based, they are actually migrating to a new, bigger facility. So orders might be held up with them, but it might, if I pop this into the chat. There you go. So that's to the thing. But get the names, search it, because you might have. I do know that certain other sort of like online suppliers might do it a bit cheaper. So get the name, and you can see the picture of what it's like, and then go hunting in the wild for it. So it's like with Games Workshop. Games Workshop don't do discounts for their games, but you can get them at a cheaper rate from other suppliers, like online suppliers and stuff. Hello, Master Mouse. Everyone's gangster until a mouse turns up. Evening, Mr. Forge. Evening to you, sir. Well, let's say War Cradle are the game development side of Wayland Games. So Wayland Games is the mother company, and Wayland and War Cradle makes games for Wayland primarily, as well as other people. I think they're actually getting a distributor, or they may already have a distributor out in America, but obviously they do international shipping. So if you did want to get it sent home or to a convenient location, you can do so. Right. Yeah, the naval game, which is like these things, that's Dystopian Wars. This is actually an American ship, which is strangely part of a European faction. So in Dystopian Wars, you've got these main eight factions. So you have the Crown, which is basically like British Commonwealth. You have the Commonwealth, which is actually Russia and like Eastern Europe and surrounds. You have the Union, which is the United States and its territories. You have the Enlightened, which are basically like a group of scientists from around the world all got together and created their own faction, and they live in the Antarctic or the Arctic, one or the other. You also have the Empire, which is basically China, Japan, Korea, the Sultanate, which is like the Middle East, Egypt, Syria, sort of Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, Yemen. Yeah, well, those are the places. But is there any other ones? Imperium, which is basically Germanic, so Germans, Prussia, Scandinavia is the Imperium, and the Alliance, which is like France, Italy, Spain, and Brazil, and Portugal, because Portugal is connected to Brazil, and I think there might be some other South Americans might be part of the alliance. Not 100% sure. Actually, there is a way to check, because in the big box you get a world map. So I'll do this on. Ugh. So yeah, so the Union, which is obviously the United States, down into sort of the North Mexico and northern part of South America. Then you have the Brazilian side of things, which is orange, which is the alliance. So the alliance, which are over here, also have there. Strangely enough, Argentina and Chile are part of the empire. So that's China, South Korea, Philippines, and all that over here. The Sultanate there. Not a lot going unaligned. So most of Africa is unaligned. Greenland is unaligned. Hold on a sec. Okay. Antarctica. So you can actually see these little things like that. That's the enlightened. So they have these enlightened Promethean complexes. So that's where you find all these bits and pieces. So there's loads of these scattered around the place, and I think this is where they get the special materials to make what they need. So yeah, so look at that. Oh, yeah. So actually, oh, so Alaska, because this is before Alaska got sold to the States, is still part of the Commonwealth. I think this is based around about 1850, something like that. So, as the world stood there, so obviously India is part of the Crown, Australia, New Zealand, part of Papua New Guinea, South Africa, England, and Canada is all part of the Crown. But that's a really cool map. I have to say, it's one of my favourite things that you get with the bigger kits. Alright, so the map highlights the global political state of April 1874. All details added are locations considered to be some of the importance to the Crown. For particulars of locations of importance, see accompanying statistical documentation. Also highlighted are Promethean complexes, as well as sea and land routes of note. Sea routes are detailed with the appropriate factions, colours. Colour. Although they spell colour the American way. The Crown being in black for greater visibility. So War Cradle 2025, because that only came out a month or so ago. So yeah, they do lots of cool little bits and pieces. I just knocked all those dudes over when I was showing the map. But yes. All right, let's catch up what you've been talking about. Who do the Falklands belong to? Ah, yeah. The Falklands are on the map, but I didn't really look. I would say that's black, so they belong to the crown. Although you can't see Malta or Gibraltar. So yeah, it's so small you can't actually see. But we do know that most of like Greece, Turkey, Palestine, Syria, Kuwait, Egypt, Libya, Morocco, they are Sultanate, whereas Algeria is part, obviously, French owned. Purple, who are the Imperiums, obviously all through Germany, Poland. Well, not Poland. Poland's there. So Danzig, so that's where Prussia was. And Germany's over here. Vienna, so that's obviously Austria. Down to sort of Bucharest, so that's like Hungary, and Yugoslavia and stuff down here. And then obviously up the top there being Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Norway. They're owned by Sweden and Denmark respectively. But yeah, so Antarctica, the majority of Africa and Greenland are unaligned, so no. Oh, we've got the Crown have part of the Caribbean. So Domingo, Jamaica, isn't it? Yeah, it's Jamaica. Trinidad, Havana. Although we seem to have lost Belize. We used to have Belize, we no longer have Belize. So, because that's around there, I think. I think Galapagos looks quite dark. So we might have strategic giant tortoises. But yeah, and obviously Canada. Mighty Canada. Hey, Squibsy! Hello! You're sneaking in there. I'm good, thanks. So mental with work at the moment. Not enough time for hobby. That's a bummer. And the same with Alicord. Well, you're sort of... Is it a working holiday you want, Alicord? Very knowledgeable with all those countries. I've been around. I've seen things, man. No, I haven't been to Africa. Nearest I've been to Africa was probably Corfu. Corfu, maybe, well, Italy, but I was at North Italy. Travelled a lot of Europe when I was younger. So Italy, France, Austria, Germany, Luxembourg, just briefly, literally just drove through it. Well, I didn't drive, I was on a coach. Holland, so Amsterdam, basically. Belgium, been through there. Trying to think of anything else. Monte Carlo, been to Monte Carlo. That was a day trip whilst on holiday in France. No, sorry, that was on holiday in Italy and we went to Monte Carlo because we was right at the top. So I think it was near sort of Genoa. I don't even know where it was, but I remember the streets had like orange trees or satsuma trees or whatever. Giant tortoises are light artillery. I wouldn't be surprised, right? You laugh, but these guys, these like walker dudes, their ships. They have ships that actually fire killer whales at enemy vessels. So they're specially trained or bred killer whales, and they fire killer whales. They actually, in the model, you see these little pods on the side with a killer whale sitting in it. So I don't know what that shit's about, but it's fucking funny. um, yes. But no, so these, as I said, like these guys are the Enlightened, which are basically like a bunch of scientists that in Victoria era basically got together and said, "Hey, what ho, chaps, let's go and set up our own place with blackjack and hookers." I don't know if there is any hookers there. I know there's killer whales because they use them for weapons, but they are sort of creating all the more weirder, esoteric sort of stuff. So, example, that's one of the little fighter craft thingies which I've just painted up and posted up. Whereas the good old Crown with its Spitfire-esque aircraft. So I'll show you now. So this is like the big monster thing for the Enlightened. I'll show you what the Crown has. So when that goes to war, the Crown turns up with St. Paul's on tank tracks. There's two little dudes standing there. So I've actually not glowed that in because you can actually change that over for a big artillery piece. But that's the Monarch tank. And then that's the walkie-walkie thing. So that's bigger, considerably bigger. Whereas that is like a monster tank. I do enjoy Spitfire. Everybody loves a Spitfire, but this is like a crossbreed Spitfire because it's got the Spitfire wings, but it's got a little turret on the back, sort of thing. So it's like a very because I think there was a Hurricane version that had a little turret at the back, a little gun turret for shooting down the back. But yeah, it's they do sort of take from history because, as I said, this game is set in like the late 19th century. So, as I was saying before you came on, Scribsy, it's like, imagine Wakanda in the Marvel Universe, where they had vibranium. Imagine if it was a global thing, that there was like, suddenly these, like, things just popped out of the ground going, "Hey guys, we're a special mineral, magical mineral thing that if you put us into stuff, you can make awesome technology," and thus they have like they've got helicarriers. So the Crown actually has a flying aircraft carrier, as do the French as well. they've got one called the Vauban, or La République, as they say in France. But it is like a bit sort of tongue in cheek at times with some of the stuff that they come up with, but it is cool. Like that is a the old Reginald. So there's a big old chunky tracked tank vehicle. So as I say, you can pop that off and replace that with big cannon. So that's a big massive thing. They actually showed this off at Salute last year. So at Wayland Games part, which is actually right in the central part of Salute this year. So it's near to where I'm going to be with the Titan owners. They're just, so if you're facing towards the paint competition and the stage, they're to the left of us. Where they were last year, funny enough. Okay, you're selling this very well, and now I want Mortal Engine St. Paul's. Yeah, that was the first thing. As soon as you saw it, you go, that's London. London's coming to get you. But they also have, what else have they got? They've got like cybernetic horse cavalry. So you've got like again if you look back at the old like 19th like I suppose like Passage to India maybe or something like, you know, the red coat like Zulu and stuff like that. Those sort of the pith helmets and that. That's basically like what the army is dressed up in. But they do have mechanical cavalry because of this mineral sturgium, I think it's called, or Promethean. It might even be Promethean. I don't know. I don't really know that much on the background. I just know it's a magical mineral. I just like the models, okay? I just like the models. So that's, as I said, that's London. The Monarch, as it's called. So it's like a massive land tank. Oh, here you go. So this is the Avalon, which is the helicarrier, basically, for the Crown. So that monstrous thing, and this is actually so those planes there is that plane there. So that's the scale difference, because obviously this is, you know, larger scale but smaller. I don't know. But yeah, so that's the Avalon. I'll show you what the Vauban is, which is the French, because obviously, you know, Victorian era, we're at war, everyone. So this is the Vauban. So, as you can quite clearly see, it is kind of, well, it's wider because obviously got two flight decks. And this is big enough to carry these. Their wings are up. They're actually bombers. So these are obviously fighters. They're bombers. And the Alliance, which is France, Spain, Portugal, Brazil, yeah, I know, and Italy, the Latin parts of Europe and South America. They have their own ships. So within each overall faction, so you've got 8 factions. I think it's 8 factions, but then you have all the sub factions. So these are the French. They have. There's so much stuff. So you've got like surface units, so like warships, like traditional battleships, stuff like that, corvettes, cruisers, and all that. But then you have flying vessels as well, as you also have submarines, and you also have what they call skimmers. So these guys have ships that are basically like hover cruisers, and they can skim and stuff like that. So it's a lot more. You don't stop, Forge. I'm already sold. But it's a show and tell. It's a show and tell. So, what else have I got up there? Right. So, here we go. Here's more. So this is one I painted recently as well. That is from the Commonwealth. Sorry. This is a Polish-Lithuanian faction aircraft carrier, which I cannot remember the name of it. But it's fucking glorious. Pardon my French. But as I say, like, you know, the Avalon was pretty cool, but they keep on bringing out even cooler stuff. Not as long as the Avalon, but wider flight deck. The gun, it just looks cool, and it reminds me of the the Winged Hussars. That was an actual cavalry sort of knightly force back in sort of about 1700s, 1800s. Yes, Winged Hussars aircraft carrier arrives. So that's the Polish Lithuanians, who are a sub-faction of the Commonwealth, which are basically Russians, Polish Lithuanians, all that sort of jazz. So they're really cool. That's cool still, yeah. I can't say otherwise, you know. What else we got? So the other two I brought over are surface-based aircraft carriers. That is the Ark Royal, or Victory. Sorry, it's the Victory. Ark Royal is a variant of the same thing. You just change weapons around. But that is the British Ark Royal aircraft carrier. And this is the Minerva, which is an Italian aircraft carrier, unique for it has twin hulls there. It also has some craney bits. So they all have their own individual aesthetic, which is really cool. Like the Italians had that sort of galley sort of look to them. So that sort of sweep prow there. But you know, they are, you know, the crown of quite, you know, traditional, brutal looking. And when you compare that with the Americans, which have got, like, basically these are paddle steamers, giant paddle steamers. This is not finished, by the way, so, but there you go. But that flies off little, little baby things there, little baby rotorcraft. So there's two of them. I've still got to paint them. But yeah, so there's a little show and tell of the dystopian wars. But it's just different from, because like each of those like box sets, you do get basically like a little fleet in a box. So most of their sort of battle fleets are probably about £45, I think, from Wayland. But the bigger ones are going to be like 80 to 100 sort of thing. So something like Victory, because you get not just this is a huge chunk of resin with parts. Zamiek, that's the one. Yes, Zamiek. Yeah, Zamiek. I actually, when I done my own unboxing video, I actually looked up all the names and how to pronounce them beforehand, for authenticity, of course. But yeah, so they're all. It's a fun game. It's big ships, naval combat. You don't tend to have massive fleets when you play the games. It depends on how big the game you go, but generally you might have several vessels. Like you might have like one like battleship or, you know, aircraft carrier, because aircraft carriers have aircraft. Battleships have big freaking guns, which are always fun. I do tend to seem to have a lot of aircraft carriers. But the there you go. So Zamiek. So in that one you get the main ship, but then you get these two skimmers, these two, some bases here as well. But these can be made into these. So there are different types of ships with different armaments, but you can magnetize a lot of them, so you can just swap out bits and pieces or upgrade the weapons. They actually do make it a little bit easier compared to like Warhammer, for example. So it is a really cool ship. The artwork's pretty cool as well. Look at that. There's like little, like, you know, the little funnels billowing out smoke as they're flying along. It's crazy, but I love all that retro sort of diesel punk, steampunk stuff. Right, so I'm just going to need more refreshments. I'm in need of a beverage. Okay, fine, I'll get into Armoured Clash. Well, at Salute, they'll have some of the guys doing demo games, so it's definitely worth checking out. As I say, you've got factions that have been released so far. You've got Crown, so British Empire, the Empire, which is the China, Japan, Korea, Far East sort of thing. The Enlightened and the Union. So the Enlightened, which is the weird scientist with killer whale launching weapons, and the Americans. So I do actually have the American one over there. They get this massive train, like land train thing in it, which is different. But let's say you've got all these land-based weaponry. So Monster Walker is always going to be bloody cool at the end of the day. But yeah, so that coming around stomping and dump, 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 because that's obviously the noise it's going to make is dump, 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 dump. So I've literally just missed Ben's earlier message about the Trench Crusade with the mobile fortress of Britannia. Yeah, because that's freaking massive. So my other thing I've been doing recently is Trench Crusade, which you can just see at the top of the screen there. So I'm just gazing adoringly at this again. The artwork is really cool, and if you ever watch, like, because on here I've got my unboxing videos. Every time I do an unboxing video, it's like, because it's all wrapped up cellophane. It's all got cellophane on it, but I just love the box. The box is just proper. It's like, yeah, this is cool. So you got a bit of artwork and you've got a cool box in there. It's very sophisticated. There you go. That's the Sovereign. Sorry, Sovereign battle group. So that's the Sovereign, the one with the thing is Sovereign. So you've got your little mechanical horses. You've got your little, like, exosuit dudes, a couple of tanks, and a couple of artillery pieces. So they are, basically like a little self-contained unit, basically. So you can field that as a full unit. Obviously, having more stuff will allow you to do different variations of units and stuff. Yes. Right. What was I doing? I was doing something. I was going to do some gold. Nice. So you working on anything at the moment, Squibsy? And what are you up to? And thank you for popping in. Really nice to, you know, interact in a live environment. Box. I'm going to get an early night mate speak soon. Right, you take care, you lovable little rogue, you. Thank you for dropping in and hanging out. It's much appreciated, my friend. Right, so make sure that this is not. This is wicking. You go over there. Ah! No! I've broken his gun. Fuckaroonie. Where did I put it? Where did it go? I think the map killed it. Oh no, there it is. It can be repaired, that's fine. Thanks. Glass. What's that? Pop that over there, so that's out of the way. Right, let's super glue this bastard back into place. Snap the barrel. To be fair, all the parts I got sent out to me by my friend, because the guy that did this for me, especially a friend of his, printed them off, and there was a mistake because he basically put all the pieces in one box, but some of those pieces weren't meant for me. They were actually bits that my mate wanted. So he just said, well, you might as well have them, you sort them out. So I went, okay. And I just stuck myself to the bloody thing. Let's start again. But yeah, so this thing, like, there was some breakages. So I actually just found a random bit of resin and quite literally just stuck it on as a barrel. But now it's just finding the right position in which to put said barrel. There you go. Semi-crisis averted, he says. Right. Yeah, it was actually this dude I wanted to. Booba shaker. I think, like the old Ben, I think I'm going to call that at the moment. I didn't have much to do, and we done it. That's the last thing we do. But yeah, yeah, I've enjoyed myself talking loads about the dystopian wars and all that jazz. But thank you for everyone that come in and hung out this evening. It's been enjoyable. Thank you very much. I'll be back in. Saturday's a little bit at the moment, so I'll have to get back to you on that. But if I'm not on by 8:30, then I might not be on. But anyway, thank you again for coming to hang out. It's been most enjoyable, and just to chat stuff and do a little bit of painting. So until we meet again, I will wish you a happy rest of the week. I hope that hump day wasn't too bad for you, and we'll meet again soon. So until next time, take it easy. Happy hobbying.